All right, Kenman here. And have you ever been interested in what it would be like to customize one of your pocket knives? Well, if you don't feel like doing it yourself, you could sit along for the ride with me. I have this Civivi ExOne and we are about to do it start to finish. What will happen? What will it look like when we're done? All these questions will be answered in the next few minutes. Let's go. All right. So what I usually, well, let's do the last looks here. Try to stay organized. Boom, boom. The Civivi ExOne. It's got a Nitro V blade. Nice little flipper action plus this big fuller. Got the white G10 scales, and then it has this crazy green funky liner plus the G10 backspacer. So it's the scales and the backspacer that we're going to work on, but we're going to be able to pop it off of that green. Maybe I'll do a little before and after. I keep forgetting to do that, so that would be a potential before. Action on this thing is really nice. Nice and centered. Flips out real easy. We know what we're looking at. Let's get to it. Die project number 53. That means I've done 52 of these. Well, not exactly. There's a couple in limbo out there that we will eventually get to. And there's my table setting. Once in service, always in service. All right, let's have some dinner. What do we got? The Civivi ExOne right here. This one was actually sent to me by Civivi. Thanks again to Civivi. But I still will give you my honest opinion when I do have a company that sends me some stuff. This is a pretty fun knife. I like the look out of it. Sure. I like the look. I like the style. It's got a nice action. The clip can be swapped for lefties and righties. Plus, when they asked, basically when I kind of started in talks with them, they said this is the knife they wanted me to review first, and they wanted to send me the black one. And I said, you know, on my channel, I do a lot of custom stuff. Would it be cool if they sent me the white and green one instead? And then they got back to me the next day. They said, yeah, that'd be cool. And so, yeah, I already did the unboxing of this and kind of talked about all of it. You can watch that. I can put the link to it in the description here. And go back and check that unboxing out if you want. But yeah, so they sent me this white one with the green. I thought it looked super cool, kind of a neat two-tone look. It's kind of a newer style. Haven't really seen that too much. Probably see more of it in the future. Comment below. What do you think about the two-tone liner? Here we go, the big old reveal. Look at how green that is. I love the shade of that green. I'm going to say it. I'll say it again. It's ugly. It's like an ugly color. But to me, that's the appeal. It's like this gross... I don't want to talk bad about it. I don't want it to sound like I'm talking bad about it. But it's just this funky, bright, gross cat puke green. I don't know. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I appreciate it, Civivi. I'm really glad you decided to go with this color scheme because now we have these white, or they kind of look almost a little cream, off-white scales and the spacer that we are going to do a custom die to. So what I need to do now is I'm going to wash these up. Any oils, residue, and stuff on there will act as a different type of a resist against the dye that we use, and then it might not take the same. We want a nice uniform color. So I'm going to take these to the sink. We're going to wash them up. We're going to leave all this behind for now. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to take these to the sink. We'll get them all cleaned up, and then we'll start the dye project. Ready? Boom. Okay, we are in the kitchen. I have the die heated up and ready to go. I've got them hung on the hooks, connected to my motor that I can run at a really low speed so we can do a nice fade. I'm going to go ahead and hit start and they're going to start to drop. I have the die heated up just below boiling. I've got the spacer right here. I'm just going to go ahead and not do a fade on it, so I'm just going to drop it in. It gets to be kind of a tester piece. We can see how the darkening happens with this particular type of G10 with this white kind of off-white color, and then how it will kind of affect, we'll see it as we drop down. Basically the dye, like I said, is just under boiling. The heat helps activate it and make it soak into the part that you're trying to color faster. You could do it at room temperature, but it takes significantly longer. I've left stuff in room temperature dye for up to 24 hours or more, and it doesn't take quick, but when it's hot, it can soak in significantly faster. And within a few minutes, we'll notice. But yeah, done 53 of these, or this is the 53rd one. A couple of them in the limbo that I was trying to figure out some different techniques that I want to try. That should be coming up pretty soon. But what we've got here is it's just a slow drop into this die. So the top part has the least amount of time spent in the die versus the first section has been in the die almost this entire segment. So as it sits, it soaks in and gets darker. And so with a real slow drop like this with this motor, I'm kind of able to get a fade going without having to do too much work. I can kind of just stand here and talk to you guys. But I have noticed it takes a little tweaking, a little practice to figure some things out. Some of the dyes don't take very fast, and so you'd have to do several passes. This purple does take pretty quick, and I do have it fairly hot. White will make it pop quite a bit, so I am kind of interested to see. I may go to a little time-lapse section if it is not taking as fast as I like. But as soon as these get just basically right underneath the die, we're going to pull her out, stick it in this water here, and see where we are at. The water basically will neutralize all the dye that is currently on them, and then that way we can kind of see what we have, because if there's a chunk of it, or it's thick, the dye is basically water and dye. It's about a couple ounces of dye, maybe 20 ounces of water. It's really thick, so when we take them out of there, it's going to be coated with that dye, so you're not going to get a real true color until you rinse them. So here we are, about to be submerged. They're going to disappear, and boom. All right, gonna wait a couple of seconds, then we'll go ahead and come straight out and into this purple. Quick rinse. Now I'm gonna take them off the hooks so I get those out of the way here for a moment. Okay, I'm gonna take the spacer out as well. And let me get these just a quick wipe. And we'll see how dark it actually is. And if we want to go back in, I don't know. So I know a camera always makes it a little more difficult to see a fade. Doesn't show up quite as well with the bright lights. Kind of makes everything look the same. It's definitely really light right here and fairly dark on that side, but we could go back in maybe for one more round just to get it a little bit darker. You can see the spacer was in there the whole time. It does have a nice purple. I think we are going to let her go in just for a little bit more and see if we can get her a little bit darker. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to time-lapse this, and we'll finish this process off and then get her put back together. All right, let's go for a ride. All right, let's get them out of there. See where we are at. Splash. Get that turned off. Turn off my heat here. And I think I'm going to be happy with where we're at. Got a little crazy there. I had the heat up pretty high. It started splashing around, which, you know, wouldn't really be a big deal, but because I'm trying to do a fade, it was kind of splashing up onto the section that was still out of the water, and that's going to cause spots that might die for longer, so I had to go in there and kind of wipe them real quick while it was going. I think we're good to go, though. Here we are. All right. I'm going to finish drying these things off and meet you back at the table. And okay, here we are all back at the table ready to get this thing reassembled. The fade is subtle. It's definitely darker here and a little lighter there, but it's such a gradual fade, and I think I had it pretty hot, and so it just took so quick that it just doesn't quite show up as much, but it does have a little bit of a fade to it. Like I said, kind of darker here, up at that side, a little bit lighter down there. Let's get it back together. Okay. There is a captive pivot. It is a little notch right there. Fits into this little groove like that with that C pointing down. Okay, so this one's going to go on the top like that, and this one is going to sit here. Then we have these little spacer spots that go in there to hold the back spacer down. All right, make sure to keep that C nice and straight. Got the bearings. Okay, let's think. So that's gonna just drop right. That. We have the backstop. And slides in there. Fairly easy reassemble here. Don't jinx it, Kenman. Not yet. We're not there yet. All right, let's get this pivot going. You got to be careful when you put a knife back together to get everything centered. All right. So I'm not going to crank everything down completely. I'm just going to get it all started. And then we can come back. All right, so those are T8s, aren't they? I forgot that the body screws on this were also T8s, like the pivot. Ooh, look at that. I'm just going to have to crank that down a little more. I did, as you could recall when you watched the die part, I didn't do the fade for the back spacer. I just left it in there. I wanted to get the back spacer a little darker, maybe be a little offset of the lighter tip of the back. You'll be able to see that in a second here. I think it looks like it worked. Okay, I'm a lefty, so I'm going to put the clip on this side here. And drop those screws into position. The pocket clip is T6 though. Which is pretty common. More often than not, everything's a T6. And then it'll be the pivot will be the T8. All right, now we're gonna crank everything down and try to get this nice and centered. So I'm gonna tighten that captive pivot down a little more than fully cranked, but not so tight that it's gonna be hard to take care of later. Oh, I forgot. Can I get in there? I can. Okay. Can barely get into that screw when the pocket clip is on. It's kind of a weird design. Pocket clip kind of hides it or kind of covers it up a little bit. So you can't actually fully remove that screw. It found out you now right there. You can tighten it, but you can't remove that screw without actually removing the pocket clip first, which is kind of an interesting design. Okay, now we're fully tightened. Now I can loosen the pivot just a little bit. But you want, when it's open, the blade to be solid. Tighten it down just a little. So no play, no movement. Maybe a little more. And then still drop shut. Okay, we've done it. Get everything out of the way. Die project number 53. The Civivi ExOne. We have a unique look right here. It comes white with those green liners, and we went ahead and accented it with the purple. So if you look here, you can see the back spacer, maybe at this kind of an angle. You look at the edges and they're a little bit lighter than the back spacer. That kind of shows you that there is a little bit of a fade from here up to there. Not much, which is fine. It still looks good. Let's check out the action. Still flicks out nice. Drop shut good. Flipper tab works. Blade is right back to centered. What do we think? Look at the color combo. That angle with that back spacer looks cool. Success? No? All right, we'll do the before and after shot here. Bing and bing. Oh, I dig it. I'm pretty happy with this one. I knew when I saw it with those liners, it's kind of a neat kind of extra pop that I wanted to use those white scales kind of bounce off of that purple and green, kind of jokered out. I dig it. The Civivi ExOne is a cool one. Check it out if you're interested. It's got an interesting shape. Good fun fidget factor with that fuller though as well. Happy stuff today. Die Project 53 in the books. You want to see a few more custom things that I do? Maybe some anodizing, laser marking. Back to the scrimshaw pretty soon. A lot of fun stuff coming soon. Stay sharp. We'll see you later.